Hey traders, Joseph here from Eightcap. Hope you had a very nice weekend. Coming into Monday trade, it's been more of the same that we saw on Friday. Risk markets higher and safe havens lower. The USD is mainly lower to risk, but it is currently higher to the yen. Now we'll just touch quickly on Friday. So Friday's non-farm payrolls and unemployment data from the US came in better than expected, and that's why we see this nice strong bar to end Friday's session. Now, you might think 14.7% unemployment is not a good thing, and it's not a good thing, but markets were looking for 16% or possibly more, but the consensus was around 16% on the economic calendar that I was watching on Friday. Now we saw unemployment come in at 14.7, so the expectation was better than expected, and this basically led to the dollar going down and risk markets going up. I still find it quite strange, to be honest with you. You go from 4.5% unemployment to 14.7, yet markets still rally, risk markets still rally. But anyway, that's the markets. You can't fight what happens, and you can't argue with what happens. It's just what happens is what happens. And as traders, we just have to do our best to sort of catch it or react to it, and make decisions based off what's happening and not what we think should happen or what we expect to happen. So moving on from there, Monday's session so far today, as just noted, risk markets have just continued to move higher. Bitcoin is pretty interesting now. We saw some pretty good moves over the weekend. Friday we ended with a test of 10,000, and over the weekend, primarily Sunday, we saw some very sharp selling. So you can't see that red bar because we don't run pricing over the weekend, but Bitcoin does quote over the weekend, if you didn't know that. So it is still trading Saturday, Sunday, but depending on how and where you're trading it from, that will dictate whether you have access to the market or not during those days. Now, we saw a very sharp move lower this morning on open. We'll just have a look at that. So we saw move lower of over 13%. Now, this is coming back to Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin halving was thought of the reason why markets were run up. It's now thought of one of the reasons as to why we saw some sharp selling as traders sort of start to prepare themselves for the halving that's upcoming this month. So it's going to mainly impact miners. So if you're not a miner, the only impact will be on how participants in the market treat the value of Bitcoin in terms of supply and demand and whether it goes up or down. But for now, just going to keep a bit of an eye on it as has pulled all the way back. There was some support here back in early May, so we'll just see tonight how it respects or if it doesn't respect these levels, and what happens from around the 8,500 point up, and so we'll see if we could break back to the that 9,000 points. So we'll just have to see if this support and demand that's starting to creep in today will continue and possibly turn into something else, maybe a bit of a fight back rally. Now, the other market we're going to just have a quick look at is gold. Now, gold moved lower on Friday after the non-farm payrolls, and as said before, markets didn't really see too much to worry about in terms of 14.7% unemployment. So gold sort of was moved out of as well. Now, what we're looking here is we have fresh resistance in gold from 17.15.30, and we are seeing a failing rally so far today. We have a pretty flat curve at the moment. Momentum's pretty well. We still have an uptrend, but momentum is very flat. We have a range here, and we have this resistance being reconfirmed. So we do have the start of a fading rally at this point in the day, and we'll just like to see what happens if sellers do continue to build numbers in gold, and if we do see this fading rally complete, break that low, if we do see a possible move lower, setting up a second day of declines. But till we sort of break this level, it's really at a 50-50 stalemate right now, and it still is trading behind that strong session that we saw towards the end of last week as well. But for now, definitely the range really does continue, and we'll just see if sellers can complete that break the low to possibly look at building some numbers, and could we see then a second move lower to test down around the base here. But early days yet, we'll just have to see how that carries forward, and that's really it at the moment. There's not too much more going on with this. Most currencies are just sitting after testing highs, and as well, we're seeing a few extended runs now in some of the equity markets. We'll just have to see, wait on some more price action to sort of start leading to any new ideas about possibilities for trades. So I'm sure you all know that majority of time trading is waiting. It's one of the fun parts which requires the most patience. So that's really it for now. So keep an eye on gold, and keep an eye on Bitcoin, just to see what comes out of these two moves we saw last week. And that's it. So hope you have a great finish to your trading day, and till tomorrow, bye for now.